Hi everybody. Today we are talking about the CE marking or CE standard certification that's mandatory for any electronic device to be shipped to European region or sold in the European region. This is one of the most important and most common certifications that electronic devices should have, and even if it is mandated and standardized by the European Union, it's normally accepted broadly in any part of the world because of its the commonality and everything. So it's quite important that from the very beginning of the product development phase, we know about CE certification requirements and adhere to those requirements when you are designing, developing and manufacturing your products. The CE certification comes out of as a declaration of a product quality according to the EU standards of safety, health and environment requirements. And those are the key requirements that you have to fulfill in your products. And when you are getting the certification, we have to make sure that we do follow a few steps. First one is the product assessment. That means we have to assess the product, the specific product category that you are following, and identify the applicable directives and standards for that specific products, because the CE standards is a quite broad standard, and for each product category you have to adhere to a different set of requirements. And it's really important that you know from the very beginning what are the standards and requirements that you have to adhere into. And then you have to do a conformity assessment after you design and develop the product. You have to assess your product to be conformal with the CE standard requirements. And then you have to do a technical documentation with your design, testing, QC, everything, and also your raw materials, to make sure that you submit the correct documentation to CE standard certification authorities so that they can evaluate and give it you the conformity. And then you can get the declaration of conformity and the CE standard marking from the standard bodies, and then you can proceed to the bulk manufacturing. And there are different types of standards and directives that you have to follow. I have put some links in there, so you can and downstairs also. So in the description you can get these links. Go there and look at those standards. They are quite complex. They're really lengthy. Normally in any standard, those standard documentations are quite lengthy. So sometimes if you are doing it in your own, if you have enough time left with you, then it's good for you to read those standards throughoutly and apply yourself. But normally it's recommended to go with a consultant. For all these certifications you have different consultants or certification parties that you can submit your basic documentation. They will prepare those documentation according to the actual standards, do the correct testing and submit for approval. So no, that's the normal procedure most of these electronic manufacturers are going through. And when you are identified the correct classification, which is like when you go for the standard, you have to find out what classification you are exactly in, which is really important. For an example, if you are going for general consumer level product, military product, marine product, those standards differ. Even when you are working in an office environment, factory environment and household environment, those standards differ because the situations or the environment that those devices face are different from each other. So you have to find out which classification your product is. I have again post a link in the description below, so you can go and see what classification you are in. Normally European Union is quite straightforward and really detailed about these things, so you can go to the European Union website and get to each and every section, read them throughoutly and find out which classification you are in. And there are a few challenges in CE certification. One is correct, like one mistake is selecting the incorrect classification or incorrect standard. So you develop to that standard and then suddenly you find out, look, we can't get the certification required because we have developed our product into the wrong standard. Now you have to go back to formula or into the EV or DV stages and then build again with that. And because of these issues, you might miss a few things here and there in this big standard documentation, so you might not have developed for that. So the recommended way is to get to a consultant, CE standard consultant, and get a few hours of him and double check what you have done, what your specification documents are, and ask him whether this is correct, what you have done so far is correct. And then even when you are going for the manufacturing, bill of materials should be RoHS compliant and all these things. And if you are buying third-party components like sub-circuits, then those should be also CE certified. Otherwise, you have to certify those third-party components yourself also. So you have to make sure that when you are design, develop, tooling and going for the bulk manufacturing, all the process is compliant with the CE standard. And when you are compliant with the standards, getting that CE certification is not hard. And to be honest, CE certification is one of the cheapest certifications to get. If you go for kind of a Chinese certification party, Chinese or Indian, that would cost you, if you have done all the documentation and everything properly, it cost you probably $1,000. But if you go for Singapore, UK or some other advanced economy, that might cost you probably less than $4,000. Turkey might be a good option. Turkey is having much lower options also between Indian and European cost structures. So there are a lot of options that you can go for CE certification. But the key thing that you have to know is that you have read those certifications, make your spec sheets correctly, get your classifications correctly and design accordingly. It's not that you design without thinking about all the certification and then suddenly wants to get the certification. It doesn't work like that. You have to design according to these certification standards and then apply for the standards. And then getting this the certification is quite easy. Also, the timeline wise, if you are going for really fast certification consultant and certification testing facility, you might get it in probably 1.5 months, but it can drag to 2-3 months. So make sure that you have enough timeline in your product development process to get to these standards before you go for the bulk manufacturing. So thank you for joining in this video. Please join and subscribe to our channel so that you can continuously get alerts for your videos. Thank you very much and have a nice day.